This is Mongolian Mindset, and today we're going to be typing Neil deGrasse Tyson. Um, I watch his stuff here and there, not too much. We've heard that through the grapevine, people think he's ENFJ. So we'll be looking at him today using Linda Berens Interaction Styles and Temperament combined with cognitive functions. We do have a breakdown of all of these. Just go to how to find anyone's personality type in the playlist. Um, Also, if you just comment below Mercer, man, just start putting those videos in the comments. Maybe I'll do it for you guys. We also have the cognitive functions as well. You guys have to understand the cognitive functions to be able to type correctly. It's kind of sad of the stuff that we see out there. Um,
Mhm.
and if you want more hands-on experience, you want to join our Discord, where you can interact with more people like yourself. I do think in the coming future, it will be the best and most accurate MBTI space. We're bigging up quite the reputation on being accurate. I love that. Um, if you want more hands-on experience with like being able to understand type, we do have a part in our Discord that's called Demigod Dojo, and that's where we have things laid out to where you can test your knowledge to see where you're at and where you stand at, and how you can get better. Going from as
Mm.
easy as the white belt to all the way to the black belt. And we have tests and requirements for different belts. And our tester, one of our testers is Czar, and PC as well. So it's dope as fuck. Um, Anything you want to say about Neil, Czar, before we get into this?
Neil deGrasse Tyson's not an ENFJ. Neil deGrasse Tyson is not an ENFJ. Neil deGrasse Tyson is not an ENFJ.
Oh God, yeah.
I gotta put my Dr. Umar spin on things.
Yeah, and you gotta keep pushing that. That shit had me
Yeah.
laughing. I watched that video like 10 times because
I had
Dr.
to drop
Umar
it
is
in there.
not.
I had to drop it in once.
Dr. Umar is the ENFJ. Okay, so we saw Dr. Umar there. All right, guys.
But
So Neil deGrasse Tyson, personality database has him as an ENTP. Okay,
Neil,
ENTP.
oh,
That's interesting.
yeah,
I
I mean
mean,
that's
that's
not the
not bad. That's
worst.
not bad. That's
It's
not
not
bad.
not bad for the dummy base. Really
Oh
not.
shit, they got ENFJ behind that with 535. So they got quite a
Ooh,
bit. They got quite a bit, guys. They got.
that's a bit conflicting. I mean,
Yeah,
how do you do that? Well,
I don't
they're
know.
completely different functions, man.
I don't know.
That's
Uh,
crazy work.
so
Like at
so
least they think his FE is positive though for some reason.
yeah, yeah. What I will say is, ENTPs, guys, they're informing, they're initiating the progression process or journey focus. They're pragmatic, ladies and gentlemen. They're systematic and they're abstract. I think this is my thoughts. They're the least systematic of all of the systematic types. Any loves novelty. That means not doing the same thing over and over, but their brain digests things from a system points of view. Like they're kind of like looking
S-
at the system.
Systematic, yeah. But
Their behavior is not so much systematic, is what I would say. Uh,
abstract ESFPs
a lot of them
basically.
can look like that. That's my running joke in the community. I've been saying for years now. Abstract ESFP. Um, it's funny as hell. The
Not all.
TIFE and the SINE. So what you'll notice is that they go off their own logical framework over um, other empirical data, and if it doesn't make sense to them, then they don't really care about what outside forces say about things, right? And I think that's what people get a lot of times. They miss about ENTPs. They always think that, oh, they got to be this super intellectual person like the INTJ or the INTP. When in actuality, that's not always the case. You'll see a lot of ENTP actors, right? Or you'll see musicians, but they always go off their own logical framework, right? For instance, I've always got my older brother who said, funny as fuck, TE Critic. You said, boy, you had to read that in the book. You had to learn that in the book, boy. It's like TE Critic on me all the time. Like, bro, get the fuck out of here. Right. And the SINE. So they're gonna be more self-referencing versus other referencing. SE is more about other referencing because it's, gathering outside experience more objective. While SI is more subjective, it's their own personal experience from things.
Mm.
So we'll be looking at them today, man. And as
See 20 years. There will be a time where Homo sapiens have achieved escape velocity from death. That generation will never die unless you're hit by a bus. That brings you the question, if you could live forever, would you? How different the world would be.
What are the things that you are most concerned about with the direction of travel of the human race?
A lot of things. So there's some delusional force operating on people's understanding of the world in which they live. If you post an opinion on anything, it gets attacked.
Did you see what happened with Neil deGrasse Tyson?
He tweeted something that many people took great offense to.
Part of what it is to be a scientist is figure out all the ways you could bias yourself and remove them as far as
figure out all the ways you could bias yourself, NE, to remove them, TI. So we got TI, NE there.
possible. Don't let it interfere with objective truths.
But what's the personal toll on you?
Objective truth, TI.
I don't know why he tweeted that.
Stupid and awful.
He's just a weird Twitter lunatic.
There's a... How long can I keep talking about?
Oh, shit.
Before this episode starts, I have a small favor to ask from you.
Well,
2 months
Barnett,
ago, 74% of people that watch this channel didn't subscribe.
You know what? Listen to Steve Barnett. Y'all need to subscribe to the channel, damn it. Listen to him.
Who they are. And I'd like to say that there was a series of events that planted the seeds of who I would become. But I wouldn't say that they were responsible. I mean, it requires a lot of continual investment of time, energy, and focus to shape a career rather than say, oh, it happened then and I've just been coasting ever since. No, that's not how that works. So I grew up in the Bronx, and in New York City, surely as is true in London, you don't have a relationship with the night sky. In a busy city, at least certainly in New York City, there were tall buildings. If you look up to see the sky, there's a building in the way. There's light pollution. And back then there was air pollution. So
Giving a lot of extra information.
Yeah.
since no one has a relationship with the night sky, then one can ask, what is your access to it? Of course, it's our local planetarium, the Hayden Planetarium. And my family, my parents, my brother and sister, there was a tactical, strategic thing my parents did. I didn't know it at the time, but every weekend or every other weekend, we went places. We were exposed to all manner of things that talented adults do beyond just the doctor, lawyer, engineer, beyond those standard professions. So first it was entertaining, but it also meant we had exposure to other ways of thinking about what you might do with your life. One of those trips, when I was 9 years old, was to the Hayden Planetarium. And I was starstruck. You sit in a big chair and the lights dim and the stars come out, more stars than you can count. And I thought it was a hoax. I said, no.
More information.
Informing.
And we're getting his SI experience here.
Yeah.
I thought it was a host.
That many stars? I've seen the night sky from the Bronx. You're lying to me.
I have
SI.
seen the night sky from the Bronx, so I'm using my SITI.
Only later would I learn, upon going deep into the rural areas of the country, we have relatives in the Caribbean, we visited there, I'd see the night sky as nature intended.
I would see the night sky as nature intended, SI.
And to this day, when I have access to great telescopes on mountaintops, and I look up at the crystalline, clear night skies, I still say to myself, oh, that is so beautiful. It reminds me of the Hayden Planetarium.
It reminds me
SI.
of the Hayden, whatever the fuck. That's SI again, guys.
So it's I know that's kind of a sad commentary on what it is to grow up in a city, but I feel like the universe chose me. And since I was 9 years old onward, I have committed my life to learning more and more about the universe. And that's the most important seed that was planted.
Cyril and Sunchita, is that your parents' name?
Cyril is my father, and Sunchita is my mother, correct.
What was the influence that they individually had on you, from almost vicariously learning from them, but also the direct influence they had on you?
They were a moral influence, a cultural influence, and I will add, not that you explicitly ask this, but I think it fits right in this moment. Consider the period, the 1960s. You could go one of two ways. If you're an angry black
One or two ways, any.
man,
And
it's like
extra
you can
information.
raise your fist and threaten violence as a retaliation of the violence against you, or you can find some other way that doesn't involve violence, that involves some kind of peace, some kind of understanding. And my father, and while he grew up in the 30s and 40s, he served in a segregated army, okay? So the stuff he lived through, and while I have my own stories, none of them compare to his average story. Yet at the end of the day, he was never bitter. I remembered him saying, when you look at the images of angry white people screaming at black children entering a school who are protected by the National Guard because an edict had to be delivered to grant them access to education, he would say, they simply don't know any better. They were raised that way. You want to hate them. And my father never hated. Never. So I go through life, and at least several times a week, every week of my life, growing up, I have stories. Today, they would call them microaggressions, but then it was just same shit, different day. But I never got bitter, because you asked, what influence did they have on me? It was the non-bitter influence. You say, they don't know any better. They think they're doing the right thing. Maybe we can make a difference going forward.
I saw the emotion in your face when you talked about your father.
Yeah, I think we need that today. The world, I reached a point where, okay, how long can I keep talking about the universe and not bring it down to earth? Not bring some science principles to people's thinkings. They want to tribalize. They want to hate. They want to choose. They want to create laws.
He went on any rant. They want this. They want that. They want this.
Yeah. I'm not.
Sound like he's trying to bring.
I don't want to interrupt because sound like
he's trying to bring his TI to his FE. That's what it seems like he's trying to do there. You know, bringing those two together. The taking the science principles.
Well, he was also
talking to FE.
Yeah, he was talking about his understanding, which is probably like his trying to bring it down to his FE level.
Well,
like
I think
understanding the people there.
He's trying to use his TI.
Yeah.
How long can he keep talking about the universe, right? But he also is trying to teach people principles based off the universe to help them as people. I think is his TIFE.
Not bring it down to earth. Not bring some science principles to people's thinkings.
TI.
They want to tribalize. They want to hate. They want to choose. They want to create laws to restrict your freedoms just because of.
And this is also outcome.
Who you worship or don't worship, or who you sleep with, or what you look like, or what, how reflective to light your skin color is, right? What side of a line in the sand you were born on. I like invoking an alien trope. aliens. They don't know anything about us. They just see this beautiful planet with water on it and continents and clouds, and they visit and they say, oh, this is cool. Oh, there's this one species that's everywhere. Oh, they're very successful. They're humans and Homo sapiens. That's cool. And then they get a little closer look and they say, oh my gosh, what are they? There's a war over here. Why? Oh, because there's some resource on this side that's not over there, and they want it. There's a coastline. There's oil. There's this. There's elements in a mine. They worship a different god. They look at the violence and hatred that we commit upon each other, and they'll run back home and tell their fellow alien brethren, there's no sign of intelligent life on Earth. So, anyhow, so I
Very TI, I would say.
Yeah.
You know, they just with the FE, low FE and the low TE, they just don't understand the social implications of things and the TE hierarchical things. So everything they do is like super objective, and that was a very objective point of view there. You'll see that a lot with INTPs, man.
yeah, my head has been in the stars, but my feet have been on Earth my entire life.
My
Why?
head has been in the stars, but my feet has been on Earth. That's a SC Trickster. Yeah.
Yeah.
SC Trickster. Bro, it's not on planet Earth. Abstract, whatever you want to call it, but that's more SC Trickster, man. It is what it is.
Why does that connect so deeply? Because it's so obvious it connects so deeply with you. Is that linked to what the resilience to bitterness that your father demonstrated when he was abused and was attacked with racial abuse? Is that the reason why it's so linked so closely to your heart?
I don't know. He didn't burden us with his stories unless we asked or unless it came up in a moment. It wasn't that way. It was, I saw his integrity in the face of what was going on in the world. And
That's high.
A person can be a mentor even if they don't say anything, because you can observe them, observe their conduct, their behavior, how they respond to adversity. Do they fight back? Do they want to commit violence? Do they want to have a conversation to explore the differences?
You know, I am.
That's any.
My mother's from Nigeria, my dad's from England, so I'm of, I guess, dual ethnicity or whatever the politically correct term is now.
It's called human.
Okay, I'm human.
It's called, just say it. Repeat after me.
I'm
What
human.
race are you? You're the human race.
I'm the human race.
You just spent 10 seconds telling me how anthropologists liked to divide up the world and force us to then agree with their categories. Line everybody up from ghost white to coal black, and you'll have a human being of every single skin color in between. Okay? Oh, did you happen to be born over there? So, you're a human. Tell me
human.
which mixture you are. I don't give a rat's ass.
Okay,
You're a human being sitting across the table from me. Now, continue. Sorry. Sorry. It's your podcast.
It's fine. I don't mind.
I don't mean to jump
Okay.
all in your
It's
face.
fine. It's fine. I'm fine with it.
Okay.
And
So
I've
negative
come to
TE.
learn about what it was to be black in the 1960s, 70s from my guests, and it's helped me to understand my mother better, because my mother didn't react like your father did. And you talked about
Your mother was Nigerian.
Nigerian. She came to the UK. We lived in an all-white area. She didn't react like your father did, and so it skewed my perspective on race relations. But then from doing this podcast and meeting people like you, hearing some of those very specific stories of abuse, I almost can't believe it. And now I have this huge amount of empathy for my mother because I've sat here with the guests. And one of the stories I heard you tell was about your father competing in athletics and how people would scream the N-word at him while he was running.
Oh, yeah. So this was, for me, one of the most insightful lessons that I got from all the stories from him. Yeah, so he was an athlete, actually world class track. That's its own story, because he He was kind of muscular, all right, certainly in his day. Not Charles Atlas muscular, but relative to other kids in his class. In high school, he was muscular. And they were in their gym class, and you line up and getting ready for the next unit, all right? There was gymnastics, and then there was like track and field. So they had the track unit, and the gym teacher pointed to my father on the line and said, we're about to do the running unit, and just so you know, do you see Cyril Tyson over there? And then returns. He says, he has the kind of body that would not make a good runner. And he said to himself, no one is going to tell me what I can't do in this world. And he started running. And he became world class. And at one point, he had the 5th fastest time in the world in his special event. So that's an important lesson, career lesson. Why are there people running around telling you what you can't accomplish? In a free society? I can get it if we're not a free society, but why should anyone tell you what you can't or shouldn't do? So that was lesson number 1 for me. But then, his best friend, also a runner, Johnny Johnson was his name. There's a race. Johnny Johnson is running around.
You know, I always joke around when they start talking, you start losing consciousness, bro. This guy's getting to me.
On the last turn of the track. And there's a runner from the New York Athletic Club several paces behind him. The coach of that runner goes up the side of the track and screams to his runner as he points to Johnny Johnson ahead of him, catch that. Johnny Johnson overheard this, okay? And all Johnny Johnson said to himself was, this is one he ain't gonna catch, just and increase the distance, okay? So that comment from the coach could have done one of two things. It could have demotivated you because then you wallow in the racism of the world, or it could motivate you to succeed.
Options.
Ever since I heard that story, every racist encounter I have ever had simply motivates me to succeed all the more. Period.
And I see that throughout your story as you go through
Very long ass story for I don't know nothing.
College,
Or an
university,
ENFJ.
and you go into your post-grad. There's moments over and over again where
Dr. Umar's accounts are frozen.
people or circumstance encourage you away from what's clearly your passion, the thing you're clearly pursuing.
Yeah, people didn't. Yeah, and again, this is not the kind of racism that the 1950s or 40s, you know, I wasn't lynched,
Yeah.
you know. So again, I don't want to claim equal
I'm talking
trauma to what earlier generations had experienced, but you can get, let's call it institutional racism, where you don't
not even racism. I'm talking about people trying to put you off your passion, telling you it's not.
That's, I call that racism. What I'm saying is,
Really?
they see that I'm athletic. I've been athletic most of my life, and they can't wrap their head around me being something other than an athlete that they watch on television. When I say, well, I actually like astrophysics, but you're so good at this other sport. No, I want to be in the physics club. No, we need you on the basketball team. And they think they're doing me a favor. They think they're saying nice things to me. But every one of those is a force operating against my ambitions. And so, in a way, just that my skin color in my life's arc was a path of most resistance compared to where I wanted to land. And by the way, we just spent a half hour talking about this, and I hardly ever talk about it. I don't talk about it because I don't need to. Maybe if it's a counseling session, but I'm perfectly fine. I'm a happy guy, happily married, got 2 kids, and I hardly ever talk about skin color because I want to make it irrelevant as quickly as I possibly can in every context I'm possibly in. So if you're going to invite me to give a public talk in February, Black History Month, I will decline that invitation If you only think of me as a black scientist, then I have failed as a scientist. Period. Period.
Very outcome driven.
You want me to? What do?
I was very outcome driven.
And you know how I
Yeah.
realized this? Okay, so I will tell you the moment after which I was a different person interacting with the public. Okay, I'm in graduate school. There's an explosion on the sun, and the press, it's over the wires. Press hears about this. So they want to get a comment on it. An explosion on the sun. So they called Columbia, the Department of Astronomy, and they're looking for some, it was lunchtime. They were all out to lunch. I'm a doctoral candidate. I'm there for my PhD. And so the department admin is going through the roster, and they get to me and say, Neil, no one is here. Can you take this call? So I said, sure. And they said, oh, hello, who are you? I'm Neil deGrasse Tyson, doctoral candidate in astrophysics. They say, there's an explosion on the sun. Should we be worried? I said, oh, it's a solar flare. They happen with some frequency. It's a wave of particles coming towards Earth. And they said, you mean the Earth is fine? I said, the Earth is fine. And they said, can you tell us that on camera? I sure. Okay, we'll send up a limo to pick you up in a half hour. And so the whole conversation, there it was. And it was pre-taped. I get home, I put on the TV, and I watched this interview. And I had an out-of-body experience.
This is all SI. Out-of-body experience.
I just witnessed something I've never seen before in my life. And you know what that
SI more.
was? It was the news interviewing a black person, me, who was not an entertainer or athlete, okay? Interviewing a black person for expertise that had nothing to do with being black. The interview didn't say at the end, well, how do black people feel about solar flares? Oh, does this affect dark skin differently? None of that. It was, will Earth be safe? And he's getting that expertise from a black person. I'd never seen that. And then I thought, well, is it just because I'm on TV and I'm a little more aware? So I watched for the next 2 years, every time there was a black person brought onto the news for expertise. It was someone who's a member of Congress representing a community and they want enterprise zones for the economics. There is someone who is worried about the poverty in the inner city. Never had an audience seen a black person as an expert. Oh, they would have attorneys, but it's talking about a court case about a black person. Would they ever bring a black attorney to talk about a court case about a white person? No. And I said to myself, that is the answer. That's how we turn.
Outcome.
You see how he went towards to get that answer. He didn't just jump on the answer. He waited 2 fucking years and watched and watched and watched. And that is the difference between T.I. Hero and other T.I. people. He sat and he watched because NE is going to say, well, it could be this, it could be that, it could be this. So they got to sit and wait until they get that shit what they think is correct. While you will see T.I. parents run with the shit or run with it. They're not waiting 2 years for this. They're not. It's just not going to happen. They believe in more getting it out and then fix it along the way. That's why a lot of times we joke around and say fast food TI. Okay. Got to slow that shit down and take your time. See, the guy took 2 fucking years. 2 fucking years. TI fucking hero. It's not TI inferior. Like, no. TI inferior is not even worried that much about that type of thing, on that level of thinking. Just not. Definitely not going to spend 2 fucking years doing it. Sorry.
An entire world of people who think black people are just dumb and stupid, lazy, shiftless, and all they can do is shine my shoes and entertain me and sing and be the athlete on the field. If there was ever a force to change that, it's not people telling them they should think differently. It's me being visible in a way where they have no other choice but to say, oh my gosh, This person knows more about this subject than I do, and he has dark skin. So the next time they see a homeless black person, they're not saying, oh, black people are just like, they have to confront the fact that they just saw a black person tell them that Earth was safe. So it's just quite simple. The next time you're driving your car and somebody comes up with a squeegee to wash your window at the red light and begs for money, and if that person is black, maybe you'll think twice about the causes and effects of poverty.
Causes and effects of poverty, I would say that is consequential. But what I'm getting here from him is what people don't realize is everyone projects themselves onto others, right? And what Neil is thinking here is that because he understands things from his perspectives and through TI, that allows him to change his views or something. He's thinking maybe he could do the same thing to other people. Sorry, Neil, a lot of people don't think like that, brother. It is what it is, just because someone gets an SI experience don't mean that it's going to change their thinking process.
The forces that operate, that discriminate against one community of people versus another. So, ever since that moment, I have declined interviews that want me because I'm black. And even in this interview, I'm not entirely comfortable spending a half hour talking about it, because it turns this interview into something about me being black, which then is
talking about the outcome.
Someone hears me for the first time. Oh, let's get him. He has all these stories about being black. Let's get him to talk to this group about in this race conference. No, I will decline that invitation.
So let's talk about a separate point. What advice would you give me on how you pursue the thing that sets your heart on fire? Your
black shit.
You do something, think some way that no one else does. So I'm special. Well, let me turn that on its head and say...
Let me turn that on his head. I don't even know where he started, but that's fucking NE.
The universe is alive within you. You have kinship with the cosmos. That feeling, to me, is greater than any ego you could have possibly walked into the room with. First, that feeling borders on spiritual. Second. Third, we have trained ourselves to equate being special with being different. You're special. You do something, think some way that no one else does. So I'm special. Well, let me turn that on its head and say, maybe we're special not because we're different, but because we're the same. All humans are stardust. All humans share a chemistry with a biology with all other life on Earth. There's one Genesis on this Earth. We have DNA, and you have DNA in common with a banana.
I beg your pardon.
You can ask, well, where are the arms and legs? No, DNA goes deeper than that. DNA controls chemistry. It controls metabolism. It controls all kinds of things that are prescribed in the DNA, and that's where we have commonality with other life forms on Earth.
Oh, just broke that down.
So why not look around and say, I'm not special because I'm different. I'm special because I'm the same as you, as others, as the tree, as the brook, as the animals, the woodland creatures. And we can all sit here and look up at the night sky and say, yes, we have kinship with the cosmos. I feel large because of that, not small.
You mentioned the pursuit of happiness earlier when you were talking about one of the central sort of like doctrines of the American dream, that pursuit of happiness. And in what you've just said about the universe, I was pondering where meaning is derived from. So I'll kind of ask the question at the same time, this happiness and meaning, Where does that come from in your perspective?
What I have found is there's an urge people have to search for meaning. Is it under this rock, behind, metaphorically, right? Is it under a rock? I'm going to search on, is there meaning there? Is it behind a tree? Is if I join this group, will I find meaning with them? And I think, okay, go ahead. But what you're doing is relegating meaning in your life to a search. And suppose you don't find meaning. That'd be a force of disappointment in your life. You're setting yourself up to be disappointed if you don't find meaning. So I have another idea. I use this
another idea,
for myself. I may or may not work for others. I recognized long ago that in a free society where I'm not enslaved and I'm not, an indentured servant, and I have some freedom of choice, that I have the power to manufacture meaning in my life. I can make decisions about my own life that create the meaning. For me, a meaningful life is learning something new tomorrow that I didn't know yesterday. Otherwise, it's a
very N-E-T-I-T-I-N-E.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
wasted day. The prisoner who
Hero is all about learning, bro. It's all about learning.
Yeah.
puts X's in the boxes on the wall for the day they get out. I have that in my head, and the day that I get out is the day I die. All right? And what these boxes remind you of is every day you're alive, you're one day closer to death. So there's one fewer days in there to accomplish something that you might have wanted to accomplish. So I want to keep learning about our world, about each other, about things I don't otherwise know about.
TIFE.
And there are people who only read things that they agree with or that they already know about, or that
you shitting on TE users, people with bad TE.
They're feeding some urge to be, to be validated. I have books on my shelf at my bedside. Every book is a subject that I either know nothing about or I completely disagree with going into the book.
See that the NE is kind of have the opposite to make sure that they're being objective as possible, right? A lot of people are not going to do that. I'm going to be honest with you. If I'm reading a book and I think the ideas that are ass in it or stupid or don't make no sense, I'm not reading it. I'm just going to be honest with you. But for him, he wants to explore the possibility. And then through that, it's going to, make his TI better because he's going to be able to see other perspectives. Me, I'm just not interested in stupidity. Zara, what's your thoughts on that? Same?
Yeah, to some extent. I mean, I think it's good to know how other people think, but yeah, I don't dribble in it for too long.
I can literally open a book and see the way that things are formatted and how they're reaching their conclusions, and I know that this is a waste of my fucking time. And if it's a waste of my time, I'm not interested.
Yeah, but I sometimes I'll see it as an opportunity to learn how to debate something, or see how someone structured it, so I can just so I can poke holes at it and mess with it.
That's only if the person is actually knowledgeable in it. I'm just saying in general.
Oh, just an idiot? No,
I'm just
I
saying,
don't
like,
care
you
about.
open up a book, I can see the way that it's formatted. That this person
No,
know what they're talking about. So then I'm
I
not.
mean,
But
no,
it'd
I
be like,
wouldn't.
let's say
I
you.
wouldn't read. I wouldn't read an astrology book for fun,
I could
or
read an
even
astrology
just
book
to.
for fun. I could read an astrology book for fun, but it has to be somebody who's credible. Like, it cannot be some BS. Like, John Doe wrote this fucking book. It has to be somebody who is credible. Like, there has to be something, like they have to have
Yeah, I mean, someone
number
credible,
one book
obviously.
on astrology that everybody else is saying good reviews on it. Then I will listen to it. But if it's like some fucking Peter Pan fucking wrote an astrology book. As soon as I open that shit, I'm like, this motherfucker this is the way the sentences are going and flowing. I'm like, no, this is it. Go, done. Um, but I know Gabby does the same thing that he's doing. Like she likes to hear different perspectives just to challenge her TI. She likes to challenge her TI. Um, but yeah, I
Mm.
am not a fan of stupidity. Like I am just not. I'm shutting it down. I'm shutting it fucking down.
Yeah, I mean, I don't play with it for too long because it just rots your own thinking.
Yeah, but if it's a credible person writing something, like because
Yeah.
a lot of people get confused with facts and philosophies. These are two different
Yeah.
things, right? Facts can't change. Philosophies is like kind of how you see the world and how you're moving forward with your ideologies, right? That's
Yeah.
fact, right? So I can listen to somebody's philosophy, that's cool. But if we're talking about facts and I see your facts ain't lining up, cut, cut that shit now.
Well, if your conclusions are bad because your premises are trash and you took some bullshit studies and then to
Yeah.
fit your narrative, of course, it's gonna be
Yeah, yeah,
bullshit.
yeah. I'm like, nah. I'm not even about it. Like I can see it. Like I it just, well, they got, they can just eat stupid shit like that. I can't. I just can't. Just can't.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, let me just hear it out. Like I think it's because that it pros to any parent. Well, let me just see what it's about. Oh shit, I done hit this. Guitar, I'm sorry, brother, but this is just going to be X'd out on this one. I forgot. You want a circle. But Neil the type. Neil is an
DeGrasse.
INTP. He's an INTP, ladies and gentlemen. He's informing. I was losing consciousness when he was talking. It was happening. I tell a joke all the time. INTP start talking, you start losing consciousness. Um, uh,
Yeah.
Responding, even though we've noticed, and me and Zara have been talking about it, that some INTPs are a lot happier, and those INTPs that are super happy tend to be a little bit more outgoing. I don't know
Hmm.
what it is. They seem to be a little bit more extroverted. Well, they would probably type in other systems ENTP. But
Hmm.
INTPs are also pragmatic, ladies and gentlemen. Um, he's systematic, I mean, it's pretty. I don't think anyone. The crazy thing is, like, I don't think anyone has taken astrophysicists, right? And they don't understand that there's levels to that type of thinking, dude. Like it it is not easy, dude. Like you need a lot of this stuff. Like you need to have um strong capabilities to be able to do it. Like it just is what it is, or you're gonna be catching pure hell. You're gonna be catching pure hell in that class. Um, I don't know. Shit. I remember physics with calc. That shit was hell. Shit. Like god damn, man. All these goddamn formulas. Um, but it is what it is. I'm more of a science guy when it comes to data and statistics than, physics and shit. I like organic chemistry. That was fucking fun. But you generally need to have a high degree of thinking to be able to work in those classes. There was people like Jeff Bezos who said like he had to literally quit. I forget what physics he was in, but he said he just learned that it just wasn't for him. You do need uh, very high level thinking to be in these. And I think he's prodigy. What are you thinking?
Yeah, like close to it.
You want to go above average going to prodigy or what?
Yeah, that's what I would think, but I don't. And yeah, I mean, his TE nemesis isn't online that much.
Yeah, but his NE, his
His NE's
SE,
pretty good,
his SE is actually decent.
not bad.
Not
Yeah,
bad. Overall, he's pretty well developed, and he's
yeah,
happy, man. You rarely.
yeah. He is. He's yeah, but I think it's because again, I have this postulate that it has to do with the fact that he doesn't have to deal with his trickster as
Yeah,
much.
yeah. Everything's taken care of and accounted for.
Everything, yeah.
Yeah,
Everything's like been taken care of and his environment's good, so he's happy he could play an abstract land.
you can
As
play
he
an
said,
abstract
his
game.
heads are his heads up into the universe, but his toes are on Earth.
Yeah, that's what we've seen. Like the INTP is generally super happy when everything around them is taken care of, and they don't have to really worry about anything.
Yeah.
truly like the happiest. Subtype, what we thinking here?
I mean, I probably normalizing dominant, I would guess.
ND, yeah, I could go with that.
Yeah. He
Uh,
seems
Enneagram here
it,
is gonna be tough. What are you thinking, 5W6 or 6W5? I think he's SOSP.
I think five comes first.
Yeah, five.
I think he's five at his core.
5W6,
Yeah.
SO/SP. So
Yeah. I
that's
think
what we got for Neil there. I knew he was SOSP, dude. He's extroverted as fuck. Um, for like, an INTP. And he does take care. And I ain't you really never gonna see an INTP that doesn't take good care of self-preservation. I'm sorry. Do generally take care of that shit. Because
mm,
it stops their worrying. It stops their worrying. Motherfuckers always worrying about something. So INTP 5W6, problem solver, SOSP, normalizer/dominant,
yeah.
average. This guy is not a fucking ENFJ. This
I
guy's
think
not a
the
fucking ENFJ. He'd
I
have to
think the
be fucking
reason they
stupid.
dip into self-preservation so much is because they don't want to get out of their NE. Once they're out of that land, it's over for them.
Well,
They're up, sailing up shit's creek
I think the
at that point.
TINE is just hyper aware of like what could go wrong if things aren't put in a specific like place or in specific things or whatever the
Hmm.
hell it is. They're like hyper aware of it. Like whenever I go to eat or something with Gabby, let's say like we had like the Korean barbecue where you cook your stuff, she makes sure that you take one fork for putting food on there, one fork for taking it off, and she does not fuck around. And I try to fuck with her by like grabbing the one that's been on there, and she will freak the fuck out. Um, and she always says, and that's the reason why your stomach's always fucked up. And I'm like, there's truth to it. But yeah, I think there's no way that you could consider this guy being an ENFJ, and that's because you're seeing Ti like literally all the time, like Ti all the time. It's, I think it's just he's just not gonna see that with an ENFJ that much, right? They're gonna be leading more with FE. Um, but this guy's Ti very, very, very good. I remember seeing one time he was breaking down Terrence Howard and why Terrence Howard was wrong, and he did it very respectfully. But like, bro, you
Yeah.
high in the science community, um, everybody coming,
Well,
bro. You're not really gonna have shit Ti, bro. You're gonna have
yeah, but I
strong
mean,
Ti and TE, bro. You cannot be an effective thinker without both.
hmm.
Be an effective critical thinker without TINTE. I'm sorry. I don't know wherever you heard that from. If you're just doing one, you're fucking up. But even in that, you see that he was willing to challenge his own thinking by going with everything that opposes what he thinks, which is insane. Um, Quite the stomach there. Anything you want to say, Zara, before we head out of there?
I mean, it's good that he considers different perspectives. I mean, he also he's very well developed as you guys can see, and I think him and Charles Koch and other INTPs that are in a better place can really make a difference in the world. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I will say his philosophy there. About trying to give black people other people a different view of black people. So maybe they'll think differently.
Hmm.
I thought it was very TI, like, oh shit, I'm getting this experience. So then that must get rid of all of the other experiences that I thought about. So then those experiences are wrong. Very TISI. Oh, based off my
Yeah.
experience here, let me use my TI and say that, oh, then that means that all black people aren't like this and that there must, and he's gonna come in and play around with it and bust it open even more. Um, so that was his own perspective. But it's kind of funny to see people kind of project themselves on other people, not realizing that most people aren't like them. But hey, it
Hmm.
does work. Even if you could do that for 100 people, maybe 200 people, thousands, it still does have effects. So, um, shout out to him for that. All right, guys, we'll catch you on the next one, man. Peace out.